Now, we've said that there's going to be a registration/signup.html. Let's go ahead and make that real and create that. So we're going to go into our Halls app here. We're going to right click and create a new directory. Well, in fact, we already have our templates directory. It's just here inside of templates that we want to make that. So we're going to say we want a new folder inside of there. We're going to call this registration. Great. So now we have our halls, but then we also have our registration. So inside of here, we're going to create a new file, which is going to be signup.html. Great. Now for this signup.html, oh, I forget an atom that you have to hit enter on that. Signup.html, bam, there we go. We want this to inherit from base.html, just like we did inside of our home. So let's go ahead and move over to our home.html. I'm going to copy what we have there. It's a nice starting point for our signup. So we'll go ahead and paste that in, but instead of just this hello stuff, we're going to actually start writing some code to make this all work. So the first thing is in Bootstrap, whenever you want to have some code displayed on the screen, you usually have it contained within a container. And so we're going to create a new div. Like, just think of a container as sort of the main chunk of your text. Like over here, this text here, hello, this is the home page. Because it's not in a container, it looks really weird. In fact, let me just show you here. It'd be kind of cool to do this on home.html. It'll really drive the point home. So if I create a div here, and I'm going to give it a class of, make sure I got my double quotes, of just container, like that, and that means we've got to have an ending div at some point here. So just by doing this one thing, I go ahead and save this, then reload the home page. Well, this is not what we were expecting, but a cool little thing that I just learned that I think would be a great little teachable moment is if we move over and check out our terminal, the problem that's going on here is it's saying, hey, inside of urls.py, when under the login here, the module django.contrib.auth has no attribute views. So if we go to our code here, it's saying, hey, when you imported auth from the django.contrib, right? Like it can't find this login, or it can't find views is what it's saying. So the problem here is whenever you're importing a module, you have to, the next step has to be either like a class or a function. So in this case, right, like django.contrib.auth and then .views. The problem is you can't say auth.views.loginView. We could have, if we had imported all the way to views, then we could have said, you know, login view, logout view. The problem is we already imported the halls views here, and so we'd have a little bit of a naming conflict. So a way around this is we can say from, and let's just copy what we have here, django.contrib.auth. Okay, and then we're going to say import views, but then we're going to say on top of this as, and we're going to give it a special name. We can say auth_views. Okay, so let's go ahead and save this, and now we're just going to change this to say, okay, auth_views. We'll go ahead and copy this and replace that down there. So anyways, my mistake, but kind of created this cool little teaching thing that hopefully you understand a little bit more about how importing works. So with that in place, now let's go back to our home page and reload, and you'll see the thing that we're originally trying to show is when you put things inside of a container, you get like some nice spacing here. In Bootstrap, you always want to have your code inside of a container. So that looks good. Let's go ahead and move back and now work on our sign up and finish this here. So we're going to say, okay, the class should be a container. Excellent. Make sure we have our ending div in place. Good. So we have the opening and closing there. And the question is, all right, how do we get the sign up page to work? Well, essentially what we're going to do is we're going to display a form. The form is the sign up form. And again, in this course, I have a whole section on forms and how to work with them and whatnot, but kind of just the basics here. Let me show you what we want to do. So first, let's announce to the user that this is the sign up page. So let's use like an h2 tag and just say sign up, and we'll end that h2 tag. Great, and now it's time to create our form. So we're just going to say form, and we're going to specify that the method is equal to a post. Okay, we'll have to make the ending tag for that form. Great. And then inside of this form, there's one thing that we've got to work here. And if you've used Django before, you know anytime you use a post method on a form, you have to use a CSRF token. This is to prevent cross-site scripting attacks. So we're going to do a CSRF token right there at the top. And then we're going to do 2 curly brackets this time, not the percentage signs. And we're just going to say form here. And this is what's so cool about Django Forms. I can't wait to teach you this later. But just with this, just by saying form here, if we go back to our page and let's go to our /signup, okay, look at that. It automatically displays the entire form for us. We've got like the username, the password. It's giving us all these specific things about the password confirmation, like the whole shebang is right here. So nifty and so cool. And to just kind of walk back a little bit to some of the magic here, because you're saying, okay, I love that Django handles a lot of this auth stuff for me, but you know, maybe you're the person that says, I want to at least know where some of this is coming from. Well, if we go back to our views.py, inside of this class-based view, we've said, okay, form class is going to be equal to user creation form. So this is using some code that says, okay, this is what you need in order to create a user. And that's things like a username, a password, and then confirm that password. So essentially what's happening here is it creates a form for us and it passes it to our template with the name of just lowercase form. So inside of our signup.html, that's why we were able to just put form inside of the 2 curly brackets, and we were able to get all of this that's showing up. So anyways, as we work further, you'll be able to see how that all works, but let's keep moving forward here. Let's finish up this sign up page, and we'll go ahead and do that with a button. And I gotta make sure this is a lowercase button. And in this button, we're gonna say the type is equal to submit. That's how you submit a form. And the class here, we're gonna do a little bit of styling using Bootstrap. So we're going to say btn, short for button, and then btn-primary. That gives us a nice blue button. And we'll end that, give it the text of sign up, and then we'll go ahead and end that button. Great. So let's go ahead and save this, come back and reload this page, and look at that. We've got the whole shebang right there. There's that nice sign up button. I will say it looks a little bit ugly now. We're going to work on style later. A quick thing that we can do to make this a lot more legible is if we do form.as_p, it essentially displays the form in a bunch of paragraph tags, which you'll notice now if we reload, okay, this is a little bit easier to work with, right? Like this is a little bit more readable. We got the button in its own space. I kind of like the way that this works. So that all looks fine. Let's go ahead and also create our login page, which again, we have to have inside of our registration folder. And this one, the name is very specific. It has to be login.html. Unless we want to customize that, which means we'd have to go create our own view for the login. But again, we're piggybacking off of Django doing the work for us and saying, okay, their login view, they're going to handle it. Their code here references a template called registration/login.html, so we better follow that. So we're going to do new file here, login.html. Great, and it's going to be so similar to our sign up page. In fact, just go ahead and select all the code in your sign up, go back to your login, paste that there. Really, all that we have to change here is instead of saying sign up, we're going to have this say login. It's still going to be a form, and we're still going to have a submit button. Really, all we got to change here is that we want it to say login. Like we just had to change those 2 things, and other than that, they're basically the same. So let's go ahead and save that, and let's try it out. We're going to go to /login, and look at that. Login, username, and password. This one's really clean. We don't have any help text or whatnot, but we are at a great point. We now have the visuals for sign up and login. Remember, again, we don't need one for logout, and all the functionality should be in place. So in our next video, we'll go ahead and test that out, make sure that everything is working.